What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects. No, it's not reloading and it's not cool gear, but it is home defense. What could be more important than setting up your own home defense and being passionate about protecting your lives and the lives of your loved ones in your home? So if that sounds like something you're interested in, like, subscribe, tell a friend, because we're going to get into some cool stuff today. Again, I think like 85% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you shit to do it, and it helps me out, and you're a nice guy, so do it because you're a nice guy. Anywho, moving on. Home defense, my top 13 tips, things that I look for and things that I tell other people as far as home defense goes. Some of these are pretty broad strokes. One of them I'm going to say pay attention. There's something I'm going to mention at the end that's going to tie this all together, and it is very important. Very important. And the reason I use it last is because these are in no particular order, but that last one kind of drives home a lot of the points from earlier. So number one, if somebody were to attack your home, know your approach routes. Where would they be coming from to do you harm? Do what you can to mitigate their approach routes, or use their approach routes and your use of lighting, shrubbery, things of that nature to funnel them into a specific place where maybe you have a surprise waiting. I don't expect anybody to be Ben Affleck and the accountant with an M134 mounted on a swivel mount in their garage, but hey, you never know. So go ahead and know your approach routes. Where would they be coming from? Because now you know where to start watching, or to set up your first line of defense, your early warning systems, whatever that may be. Have knowledge of your approach routes. Number two is going to be to know your danger areas or your ingress points. If somebody were to come into your house, where would they come in at? This goes hand in hand with knowing your approach routes. If you used forethought with early warning systems, motion detective lighting, video cameras, whatever that was, to funnel them into a specific area, well, now you may not have as many ingress points to worry about, but know your ingress points. If you've got a window that the lock sticks on and it doesn't work, so you can't lock it, so you just leave it unlocked, I promise you're not the only person that knows that. Because people talk. So know your ingress points. Now you know where they're coming from. Where would they get into your house from? So know what those are and protect them accordingly. Number three is have a plan for your loved ones. If you live alone, you don't have to worry about anybody else. But if you're a father and a parent, you have to worry about your wife, your significant other, your spouse, and your children. Because children have this innate ability to show up in the wrong place. It just happens. Right? Because their first inkling is going to be to run to mom and dad because they want to be protected and they're scared, which is what they should do. But have an actual emergency egress or a plan for your loved ones. Where do your loved ones go? What is your spouse's first responsibility if something bad is happening? If you grabbed them, use a code word. I don't care. But if you grabbed your wife and said, "Gun, go," and your wife knows immediately to take off and to go to your children upstairs and protect them with a gun and just wait, because she's the last line of defense before your kids. Somebody be like, "Oh, you're separated." You don't want them down where the gunfight's going to take place. You would much prefer them to be out of your line of fire or the bad guy's line of fire so you can just fight and worry about protecting and stopping the threat. So have an emergency action plan for your loved ones. Number four is have an emergency egress plan and an ORP, which is an objective rally point. If something is going wrong and you have sent yours, like in my household, my wife's running upstairs to my children. Upstairs to my children, we have a throw-down ladder. They can get out of the building and get down to the ground floor and away. And the rally point would be behind the alley behind our house, because that is actually where another police officer lives. So have a dedicated and planned out emergency egress for them to get away from danger while you handle the danger. I know you don't want to die, but your job's to be a protector. And if you bought them enough time that they live to see another day and they're safe, you've done your job. You just have. If you lived through it, you did a really good job. But have those things set up. Next up is going to be prep your gear. Magazines are no good if they're not loaded. If your gun is stored in a safe with the magazine separate in another safe, that's not prepped. Those are pieces, but they're not prepped. When's the last time you changed your battery in that EOTech that you had to have? When's the last time you checked your batteries in your flashlight? 'Cause it's going to be a real shitty day if you come out and the fucking flashlight doesn't work and you're in the dark. Prep your gear. Make sure your batteries work good. Make sure your optics working right. Make sure that your rifle's well maintained. Make sure your mags are loaded. Make sure that you've prepped out the gear. Number 6 is know your distances and know your holds. You should know what the longest shot you could conceivably take with inside of your household is. And you should know what your hold should be for that, especially if you're using something like an AR that has a mechanical offset between the actual sight and the barrel of the gun. You should know that hold. And you should be proficient at that hold within the distances of which you're going to shoot. You should be able to just automatic. Shouldn't even be a question if you're going to do your shot. Number 7 is to know your ideal shots. Looking at your house, if you came from your bedroom to confront a threat that was coming through this door of your home, you should already know where you need to be and what the ideal shot you would take to eliminate that threat would be. You should not be running up, hunting for the ideal angle to get a shot on this door in the moment. You should already know, that's the door? All right, cool, all right, I'm ready. I'm there. I know this shot. I know this distance and I know this hole. I don't have to worry about my loved ones because she's with them up there. They're getting out of the house. I know these things. You should know that. Without question, this is your battlefield, guys. Rarely do we get the opportunity to stage and set up our own fighting ground for our benefit. This is your home. Home field advantage. I can walk around my house in pitch black dark and not trip over anything unless my kids left toys out, which is another reason to clean your house. But you should be able to maneuver around your house, know walls, chairs, things of that nature, and be able to navigate around them to get to your ideal shot at a distance you're overly, supremely confident with a hold that you know like the back of your hand. Because this is your home turf. You set this up for your success, not theirs. Make it as hard on them as you can. So number 8 is practice your emergency plan. This sounds awesome on paper, but if you've never run through this with your wife and your children, make it a fun game for your kids. Hey, you're going to do this, the fastest one to get to this part, the one that does what mommy says the quickest, gets a piece of candy, gets a quarter to put in your piggy bank, whatever. You have to practice this stuff, and you have to know what your end result is. And when you go to practice this, they should be moving, getting to their points. They should want to do it fast and efficiently. This is how you get better at it. And this will come up later as a very important tip. Number 9 is to test your own reaction. You want to test your own reaction, have your spouse at some random point go, gun, and then you have to grab your gun, grab whatever it is that you're taking, and then get set up. If you are having holes in that, you have a training issue, which again is a point I'm going to hit last. So you should be able to test your own abilities, and you should be able to meet or exceed the criteria which you've set for yourself to get into the fight. Number 10, understand that you are probably going to be fighting in whatever you slept in. If you sleep naked, you're fighting naked. And here's some good news about that. Nobody ever wanted to get their ass kicked by a naked man, and nobody wants to get their ass kicked by their naked, so do your thing. That said, understand you're not really going to have time unless you have a long-ass driveway and you got notified well in advance to drop on armor and whatever. Know the fact that you're probably going to be fighting in whatever you've got on. That doesn't mean you can't augment what you've got on. Which brings me to number 11, which is to stage your gear. This is not the same as prepping your gear. If you know for a fact that you're going to jump up in just your boxers and you need to fight, nobody said you can't have your pistol belt stored right next to your go-to-hell rifle. Grab it, click, grab your rifle, rack it. You've got an extra mag for it. Maybe you have some medical. That's a protracted gun battle thing. You don't need that right now. But extra mag, all right, flashlight, we're good to go, right? Maybe that's a 2-banger bag from 511. You're going to be standing there butt naked with a satchel that's got 2 mags in it and a little bit of medical gear and a flashlight, and then you've got your go to hell. It doesn't always have to be a rifle. It could be a handgun, but maybe you just got this little bag that's got 3 extra handgun mags in it and a flashlight. You need it set up so that when you test your capabilities, can you get out of bed, grab your gear, grab your mag, go, right? You need to know that. So that was number 11, which was stage out your gear so that you can go. That means your loaded mags, your medical, whatever is a part of your home defense setup, you should be able to grab and go immediately, which goes into testing your abilities. All of these things make you better and more efficient. Number 11, and this one is a stickler for me, which is wear ear pro. If you're running a 300 blackout with a great can on it shooting only subs, you probably don't need ear pro. It's not really going to be that loud. However, active ear pro allows you to hear things very clearly. And I will tell you this, I have heard this said a lot. Well, auditory exclusion will protect me in that environment. That is bullshit. Auditory exclusion is a very real thing. But my tinnitus will tell you and tells me that the damage is very real, even though it didn't seem loud at the time. Auditory exclusion is real, but the damage is still actually done. That's a physical change in your eardrums and stuff like that from the sound. It doesn't matter if it didn't seem that loud in the moment because of auditory exclusion, you still did damage to the ears. So ear pro, I like over ear pro. My MSA Sordens are right next to the bed, next to my shit. I can go, right? Ear pro to me is important, or can. Your choice. Number 13. Last but not least, and the most important part of this on here, is you are not John Wick. You're not. You're not taking on a team of well-trained henchmen that seem to come from an unlimited supply, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo flips all across your living room while you wipe out people with perfect headshots and you're able to change mags off of your enemy's belt. You're not going to do that. You're not John Wick. It's not reality. The reality is, in a high-stress, high-threat situation, you will default to your highest level of consistent training or effective training. You will never get better in the moment. You are not going to roll out of your bed at 2:30 in the morning when everything's going to shit. You've just been woken up from a great dream where you were on a date with the hottest supermodel you've ever seen. You are not going to get up from that and win a gunfight and become better at it than you've ever been in your life, because that is not how this works. You will default to your highest level of effective training. If that means you can't reload a gun efficiently at all and you have to stare at it and fumble, you do not have the training to effectively do that. You should be pushing yourself in those boundaries that you can literally grab a rifle at your whatever distance you've decided and be able to ding, ding, ding and ring out a T-box hit over and over and over. You should be able to do push-ups, sit-ups, run, sprint, get your heart rate way jacked up, grab that rifle and be able to make an accurate shot at the distances at which you're going with a hold that you know. You should be able to don your gear and immediately put a gun into the fight. You will not get better simply because a bad situation has come to your door. You will, however, lose abilities and become worse at what you're doing because, I've heard this before, in combat, all of a man's brain and stuff turns into water, runs out of his ears, and he runs purely on instinct and training. That is true. In a high-stress, high-threat environment, you will not think your way through it. You are not going to become better at it. You're not going to have suddenly higher motor dexterity and be able to do things more efficiently, more John Wicky. It's not going to happen. You're not going to do it. John Wicky's now a verb or an adjective. You will always revert to your highest level of training. And if your highest level of training is total dog shit, you need to spend more time on the range, because you owe it to your loved ones and to yourself. You need to live to fight another day. We live in an uncertain world where people hurt people just because they can. People think they can get away with whatever they want to. I'm here to tell you, your home is your castle. That's your domicile. That's your protected environment. If you live in a state that says you can't defend yourself in your own home, I'm sorry for you. I fucking hate that. In my city, in my state, we're castle doctrine. Inside of your home is stand your ground. You walk into my door, it's not my fucking problem. You should have taken a moment before you came through those doors with ill intent to get right with the Lord, told him you'll be there in just a second. You value your stuff more than their life. You damn right I did, because I fucking paid for it. And he obviously values my stuff more than his life too, because he just made a fucking really badly calculated decision on whether or not he'd get away with what he was about to try. You should be prepped to the max, set up to the max, planned to the max, and as skilled as humanly possible, so that if this day happens to you, the worst day ever, somebody invading your home to hurt your family, it should all be automatic. You should know where you're going. You should know the shot you're looking for. You should already have that planned. You should have the good ammo. It should be in the mags. It should all be staged, ready for you to grab. And when that stuff does happen to you and your brain turns to water and runs out of your ears, your training and instincts should make it a no-miss situation for you. And if it's not, you need to try harder. You need to work harder, and you should always strive to be better. Even if you're great, this stuff is perishable. You should always push to be better at it every day. Your kids depend on it, maybe. I'm just saying, guys, this is reality. You're not going to get better just because you've been put into the environment. Nobody's ever gotten better. People have found stones they didn't know they had and risen above and done some really heroic shit when faced with the situation. People have sacrificed themselves willingly, knowing they would never live through what they've asked to do, because they rose to a situation, but their training and skill level did not rise to it. Their training and skill level reverted to their highest level of training. And that is reality. You're not going to get better in the middle of a fight. You have to put in the work before that day comes. So guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know down below some of the stuff that maybe you do that I never gave any thought to. But take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take care and protect your family, because they are the most important thing you have on this planet. So, guys, I'll see you soon.